I hope each and every one of you had a very Merry Christmas or Yule or Hanukkah or any of those other holidays that you celebrate this time of year. I know I enjoyed my Christmas this year, even though it wasn't really much of snow or like cold weather or anything like that. It was still nice to do something, for Christmas, and the store wasn't open, so I got an actual chance to breathe and relax and spend some time with people I care about and all of that fun stuff, right? But since I was looking through my channel and seeing if there was any video ideas I haven't had yet, I figured this would be one of them. And so today we're going to compare 3 different vapes. We have a distillate vape, a live resin vape, and then a live rosin vape. And then we're just going to go over some of the differences and the key factors that make each one of these their own unique different kind of vape. So I guess just to start off today's video, we'll start off with the distillate. So as you guys know, this is the Mitten Pressure Pack collab, and I was not the biggest fan of this because it's Super Pure Runts, which is one of my favorite pressure pack strains, and it doesn't taste like Super Pure Runts. So one of the things with distillate is that a lot of times distillate will either be one of two. You have botanical derived distillate, and then you have cannabis derived distillate, and I'm talking about the terpenes, mind you, not the actual distillate itself. And so those terpenes, when they're botanically driven, are going to be sweeter, fruitier. They're going to taste more like flavoring than they will cannabis. And then you have your cannabis derived terpenes, which the name basically says it all. It's cannabis derived terps, which are the smells and taste of the bud, so it tastes more like weed. But you have some companies who will say that they use live resin terpenes, I'm looking at you guys, Mitten, and will end up with this over-the-top artificial fruity flavored vape. And I hate to break this to y'all, but that isn't what cannabis tastes like. This isn't what Super Pure Runts taste like. I have vaped a lot of Super Pure Runts, and this is what it doesn't taste like. But overall, distillate is really good for affordability. It's really versatile. You can use it with any kind of flavor profile pretty much because it's flavorless, so you can pretty much put whatever flavor you want. So if you don't like the weed taste, distillate may be a better option for you than the other two I'm going to be talking about. But let's go ahead and get a rip, y'all. Cheers. For me, overall, distillate usually is a little bit harsher than the other two. It has a little bit more of an actual scratchiness rather than a lung punch. So if you guys know the difference, a lung punch is something like when you get a tickle in your lungs and it makes you want to cough. Scratchiness, on the other hand, is when your throat starts to hurt and it makes you want to cough. There is a big difference between the two, because if I'm getting a lung punch, that's okay. That means like everything is absorbing into my lungs and I just took a really big hit. But if I'm getting a scratchy throat, that's primarily due to the terpenes or the flavors or the quality of concentrate in the product, and I don't want a scratchy throat because scratchy throats suck. They make it really hard to talk, they make it hard to vape, they make it hard to review products, etc. So, I mean, overall distillate's okay, but it's more so for people who are just getting into the vaping side of things. I don't recommend this for people who have super high tolerances. Next, we're going to be switching it up to live resin. Now, live resin is part of a family of concentrates known as BHOs, which are butane extracted concentrates. So yes, shatter and live resin are not that much different, and I feel like a lot of people will look at live resin as the best of the best of like BHO extracts, but really the best of the best for BHO is going to come not just from the actual product, but the actual quality of the processes you're doing. Because there are companies who do make really fire shatter, and I know that's super hard to believe because a lot of people haven't seen shatter in a long time, but I know some guys who make some bomb shatter using BHO that I would prefer over a lot of live resins. Live resin is good, don't get me wrong, I enjoy live resin. It's just at the end of the day, when it comes to dabbing, I'd much rather do with rosin, and resin is kind of overhyped. It's kind of one of those things where everybody's like, yeah, you should get live resin, but they don't really know why they get live resin. They don't know why they're getting resin over rosin, or they don't know why they're getting resin over diamonds and sauce, or resin over whatever. So for me personally, I feel like live resin is a little bit overhyped, but I do feel like it has the best ability to vape out of all 3 of these concentrates here. So let's go ahead and get a rip. Cheers, y'all. This is going to be one of the Stizzy live resin pods. It's their sativa pod. I think it's the acai berry. I'm not 100% certain. But anywho, with live resin, it's one of those things where you could get a really solid cannabis taste, similar to like these. The Stizzy ones all have like a pretty nice cannabis taste to it, in my opinion. Or you'll end up with a situation where they add in extra terpenes in that live resin to try and terp it up a little bit more, give it a little bit extra flavor. And that's when you start getting some of those like fruitier, more artificial tasting live resin. I definitely think live resin has its perks because it's affordable and it's really good to go in vapes, because at the end of the day, rosin ends up getting sometimes this weird taste on it when it comes to vaping. But live resin, on the other hand, doesn't, and live resin, I feel, does a better job at being in like pods and cartridges, because I feel like the flavors transition the best over that way. Because with rosin, it's something you really want to put into a banger and really get to experience all of it. This is a little bit more of versatility. You can put it in your joints, you can put it in your pods, you can put it in your banger, you can enjoy it all over. So live resin's definitely not something to sleep on, but I do think it is overhyped because there are other concentrates in the market that you can get that are made with BHO that are still just as good. On to my last one, which I've already kind of talked to you guys a little bit about. We're going to be talking about a rosin disposable. This right here is the Church Live Rosin Half Gram. This is their orange push pop. I have reviewed all three of these before on my channel, by the way, so if you guys wanted to see those videos, I'll probably put up a little picture of it, of the thumbnail basically, when I'm reviewing it, so you guys have an idea of when I reviewed it or what it looks like to go search for it back on the channel. But anywho, rosin does have an interesting issue for me because it's one of those things where I really want to enjoy rosin, and all of them do taste really hashy. Like, you do get a nice hash taste to a lot of rosin disposables, but I feel like a lot of the flavors are muted out because you're using a vaporizer with ceramic versus using an actual dab rig. I love Church. I think they make some really good vapes. I do think their batteries need to hit a little bit harder personally, but I think overall they make good product, and I think this rosin was really, really solid. But at the same time, on the same token, it's just one of those things where why would I pay the extra money for something that tastes just the same as a live resin pen? The rosin pen's only different for me is that it just gives it a little bit more of a natural flavor, a little bit more of a cleaner flavor, but that's about it. It's not too much different from the resin. Now, when we bring that out in a dab rig, it's completely different. I can tell the difference between a rosin and a resin in a dab rig, but at the end of the day with pens, unless it's like super artificially terped up, if I gave you a really good resin pen and a really good rosin pen, you would probably have an issue deciding between the two, which one was better quality. But anywho, let's just go ahead, get a rip. Cheers, y'all. Like I said, the Church disposables don't pull as hard as the other two batteries, but they definitely get you where you need to be if you're going to be using them. In terms of like flavors, with the actual rosin disposables, I get a lot more of that hashiness. I taste a little bit more of that natural cannabis flavor, and it doesn't feel like they're trying to hide anything or add anything in there to kind of make it taste better. It's just there, and I do think that's a good thing, but at the same time, for the people who want to get into vaping, it's not really going to be as easy because a lot of people don't like the taste of cannabis. A lot of people think it tastes weird, or it tastes gross, or it's too strong. It's an acquired taste over a course of years of use, you know what I mean? Like, it's not something like, it's like beer. Craft beer is an acquired taste. Not a lot of people like craft beer. Not a lot of people like whiskey, but some people really like whiskey, and then it becomes an acquired taste where you don't taste it anymore. It's the same kind of concept. So overall, what do I think is the best for a vape? I think live resin is your best bet when it comes to buying vapes. But if I had to dab something, I'm obviously always going to go with rosin, because rosin is just the better tasting, the higher quality, the cleaner burning, the better smoking concentrate. But at the same time, don't also do this. If you're going to make distillate and get distillate disposables, try to avoid the super fruity artificial flavor ones, even if they taste delicious, because at the end of the day, we don't know how healthy any of this is for ourselves. So trying to get as much natural product as possible is kind of like one of my key focuses, because naturality is most likely safer than artificiality. Even if those aren't words, I don't care. But that's pretty much all I have for you guys today. If you enjoyed my video, please let me know down in the comments below. Also, make sure you leave a like, subscribe, share with your friends, tell everybody about the channel, because we are growing at a rapid rate and we're almost at 5K subscribers. So I know you guys can do it. Thank you guys so much, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.